Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to draw a tortoise. Now, this was actually an art project for my art class, but since I was really proud of the results, I decided to share with you my drawing process for this. Now, my teacher did say that if we aren't super experienced in drawing, we are allowed to trace over our reference picture. So, since I am not really experienced in drawing completely, and just because I'm on a time crunch with when the assignment's due and coming out with this video today, I did decide to trace my animal. Now, what I did was color on the back of the reference picture. Then when I flipped it over, I drew over the outline with that pencil. Now, since this is kind of a technique that you kind of have to hope and pray it works, I decided not to trace over every individual detail, but just do that myself after I was done tracing the outline of the tortoise. However, if you do own a tracer and you just want to fill in all the details exactly like the reference photo, you can do that as well. What I'm just trying to do is get the basic outline and fill in the details myself because I want to become more confident in my drawing abilities. Now, the first thing I decided to add texture to on the tortoise. I am so sorry, I can't even remember what animal I'm doing. The first thing I decided to add texture to on the tortoise were the feet. Now, I achieved this by basically drawing really tiny, roundish, circle-like shapes. But one thing I did to try and make the circle-like shapes appear more realistic on the tortoise were making them different sizes and not making them perfectly round. So essentially what I did was I just placed the pencil on the paper and did what felt natural to me. But after I was done drawing the little circular shapes on the page, I decided to lightly go over the bottom of the fins with pencil. And what I did was, as I drew over the fins, I did so using a circular-like motion with my hand. And what this did was it darkened up the bottom of the fin just a little bit because how I was drawing the picture, there is going to be a shadow, and from the way the light hits it, the shadow would be near the bottom of the fin. I'm sorry, what did I just say fin this whole time? I meant to say feet. I keep mixing up turtles and tortoises. I apologize. And I did decide to add in a bit of stippling just because, yeah, while stippling is a bit of a pain, it does in turn, in my opinion at least, I think it looks really good. Now, if you are a bit confused on what stippling is or don't know about some of the techniques I refer to during this video, I will link my video on tips and tricks on how to get a better drawing at the end of the video just so you can see what I am talking about. Now, in this portion of the video, I am drawing a little bit of the shell. And how I did so was that from the reference photo I observed, there were some stripes on the shell. So I drew out the basic outline of the stripes, and then I went over the whole part of the shell with the lightest shade possible on my pencil. Then, observing where the darker parts of the shell were, I just went over it with a darker part. And since there were ridges, the stripe wasn't completely, it did not completely have a smooth surface, so I did go a little over the lines just to create a bit more texture. Now, while we're on this break, I'm going to do a small self-promo because that's what all YouTubers do. I would really appreciate if you guys checked out my Instagram. My main one is called Artist Therapy, just like this channel, and I do have a second one open now, called Journaling Jess Lynn. It's just for journaling, basically. It's really what it sounds like. But I will link both of my Instagrams down below. And since I have a little more time before I have to go back to the main purpose of this video, I'm going to be trying to reach 200 subscribers. I don't want to have a goal that's too extreme, but I was wondering if maybe, just maybe, by the start of November, or at least the first week of November, that I have 200 subscribers. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't, but then again, I also had the goal of reaching 100 subscribers by, was it August or September? I don't remember. And I did. But as an incentive for you guys, I'm thinking of doing a giveaway once I hit 200 subscribers, and also featuring your guys' artwork. If you want to know how you want your art, how you want to get your artwork featured on my channel, just check out the details down below. But if you do think you know anyone who would maybe like my channel and subscribe to it, do shout me out. I would really appreciate it. Anyway, back to the video. Here's just me sketching out the shell, but this time it's on my tripod. I'm sorry I had to do so many close-ups and it was a bit hard to see where exactly I was doing stuff. The tripod wouldn't focus for some reason, but now you're able to see how exactly I decided to go along with this. But anyway, now that we are done with the sketching, here comes the easy part, pretty much. It's kind of surprising in my opinion, because you would think that the sketch would be easier, but for me, the sketch is actually harder than the actual piece, because sketching is kind of like your rough draft, and in the final draft is where you just finalize details. So basically, I started off inking where I started the sketch. I started on the feet. I said feet this time, not fins. So I just went over the shapes that I drew, and then I did some stippling. And then afterwards, since I can't really get that light of a value with my fine point Sharpie, I did use a pen just because it would get a lighter shade, and it kind of, in a way, it reacts like a pencil would, just that it's permanent. Something that has always made me nervous about inking my drawings is that more than occasionally, I have had a sketch that turned out a lot better than the actual inking did. But I think in a way, since I was a bit under pressure because of the time crunch, I kept telling myself you only have one chance, and I think in a way it made my performance a bit better on this piece, at least. That actually reminds me, whenever my teacher was talking about the inking process, she did tell us you only got one shot to do this, because she doesn't want us to waste a lot of pages in her sketchbook. So one kid in my art class commented in the chat online, "Oh, it's like that one song by Eminem." So he started copying, pasting all of the lyrics on there. And I thought my teacher would get mad, just because she usually says that we should try and stay on task and not talk about things outside of art. And instead she surprised me. She said, "Oh, that's fun." Oh, I was about to say his name. I'm not going to do that. But she said, "That's fun. I like Eminem too." Anyway. I think that the good thing about when she says that we have to ink the project, she said we could use either Sharpie or pen, but since she gave us two options, I decided to use both, just because I was able to get different values from each thing. For example, the fine point Sharpie, it created very dark values whenever I wanted to have solid lines, and I really liked that. But for the pen, I was able to get lighter shades or darker whenever I wanted, just like a pencil. So it made it a lot easier than straight up using one or the other. Anyway, in this portion of the video, I'm just going over the face with my fine point Sharpie, and then I'm adding in some value and texture into the skin using the pen and lightly going over it. Now, right now, I'm just adding in a shadow. So basically what I did was I used the fine point Sharpie, and then as it got closer to the bottom of the tortoise, I used a thicker Sharpie and blended that out. And then to draw the ground, just to ensure that I would actually make it straight, and since the ink is permanent, I used a ruler just in case. And then over on the ground, I lightly went over it with pen just to not make it so white. Anyway, the last thing I did before I closed this video was do the shell. And how I did that was I did it the same way I applied it with pencil. I went over it very lightly with pen, and then on the darker parts, I went a little harder with my pressure and created a darker value. I would recommend that you practice on a separate piece of paper because it did take me a bit of getting used to that, and since it's not pencil, you can't erase it if you make a mistake. And at the very end, I know my teacher doesn't like when you have a really blank background, so I decided to add in some raindrops just to create something and not get points taken off. Anyway, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you do end up trying out this tutorial, do tag me on my Instagram, or you can send it to my business email, or just even let me know in the comments. If you want your artwork featured on my channel, just check out the details in the I cannot speak, in the description box down below. And if you want to know exactly when I post, hit that like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. And I will see you guys next Friday. Take care, guys.